Before you enjoy this video, why not consider signing up for an account at PAX? Whether you're a player, agent, club or scout, PAX is for you. Create your free profile and connect with those in the industry today. For more information, please visit us at www.paxsports.com. That's www.paxsports.com. Now please go ahead and enjoy our video presentation. Alright guys, welcome to Next Gen Rugby. So another topic that you guys have asked me to cover often is who I think will be in the mix for the 2023 Rugby World Cup squad. Now obviously 1,000 different things can happen between now and the World Cup. There's players that we probably haven't even heard of right now that could be in the reckoning, and there's form, there's sorry change in rules, there's all sorts of things that could happen in the interim. But this is my sort of version of what I think the 2023 World Cup would look like, squad would look like. So if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to click that subscribe button as well as bell notification, and you'll be the first to know when a new video gets released. So firstly, let's look at the squad composition. So in terms of a back three, we're looking at 3 centres, 2 fly-halves, 3 scrummies, 5 loosies, 4 locks, 6 props, and 4 hookers. Basically a mirror image of the last squad. So let's get into it. So let's start off with the back three. The first player is Apalele Fassi. He'll be 25 years of age by the time the next World Cup runs. And I just think this guy's a very special talent, guys. I think he would have definitely been part of the Bok mix had it not been slowed down because of COVID-19 the season. And I definitely think that he will be there around the next World Cup. I don't know if he'll be a starting fullback. Maybe he could even be a super sub. I don't know, but I definitely think he'll be part of the final squad reckoning by the time the next World Cup comes around. Then we have Spoon Kosi. He'll be 27 years of age by the time the next World Cup comes, and he'll be at the height of his powers. At this stage, I do expect him to be one of the best wings in the world. He's got the power, he's got the pace, maybe a little bit injury prone, but if he stays fit and healthy, I really do believe that he'll be one of the best wings in the world at this stage. Then we have Cheslin Colby. He'll be 29 years of age. He'll also be at the peak of his powers. I don't see this guy losing form. He's just got way too much class, and I think him and Spoo will be sort of known as one of the most dangerous wing combinations on the planet at this stage by 2023. Then we have Damian Willemse. He'll be 25 years of age. Very good feeling about this player. You guys know that I've long advocated for him to be a fly-off and then maybe playing Pollard at inside centre. But I think Russie's plan is to put him at fullback and develop him over there, because I think Pollard will be long in the reckoning as a player. And I think the whole plan is to develop this talent as a fullback. And I just hope that there's a plan for him, because I've never seen a more talented fly-off at school rugby level. A lot of people have argued with me, but for me personally, my personal opinion, I just don't see anyone that was like the same type of player as he was. I mean, he could completely carry a team alone, guys. Absolutely amazing talent. And I just hope we don't end up in a Khafi de Toy or Brent Russell situation where nobody knows where his real position is, and he gets chopped and changed, because this is a very, very unique talent over here, and I think he definitely deserves a chance. Some people have talked about putting him in at centre, fullback, fly-off, but I do have a feeling that Russie will play him as a fullback, and that's why I've got him in my back three for the next squad, 2023 World Cup squad. Then we got Tyrone Green from the Lions, 25 years of age by the time the next tournament comes around. I'm a firm believer that this guy's got a massive future in the game, guys. I'm a firm believer. And the whole thing for me is that he's a very, very powerful runner. And, he's not the biggest wing that you ever see, but he's one of the strongest wings. I mean, he might not have the size, but he's got the power, and he runs with purpose. And I think that this guy will become a proper impact player and a very important player for the South African team. Now, there's one player missing on this list that I feel very strongly about, and that's Duan van der Merwe, but I think he'll be playing for Scotland at that stage. But if anyone from Saru is listening, please do everything you can to bring Duan van der Merwe back to South Africa, because he will be the best, if not one of the best wings in the world very soon. I'm talking like, maybe next year, the year after, we're just going to be looking at this guy and going, wow. I mean, Duan van der Merwe could become a wing of historical proportions. I just believe in him that much, but I haven't included him because I think he will end up playing for Scotland, because Saru showed him absolutely no love, and I think he deserves the love. I really think him and Colby on the wings with Spoor supporting, that would just be the ultimate combination for me. So I'm basing this on what I think Russie's mindset will be, more than anything else. Then we move on to the centres. The first centre down, I have Jesse Creel. He'll be 29 years of age by the time the next World Cup comes around. The guy will just have a lot of experience, in my opinion, and he's playing in Japan at the moment, so not part of the domestic scene, which means we don't have our eye on him every day, but I just think he's a very, very big talent, and I've got no doubt that 29 years of age, he'll definitely be part of the mix somehow. Then I think Lukhanyo Am will still be there, 29 years of age, as well. He really impressed me in this last World Cup, guys. Now, the thing with Lukhanyo Am is I've been a big critic of him as a player. I admit it openly. But I think, he silenced me and he silenced a lot of other people at last year's tournament. I think there's no doubt about that. Very, very talented guy, and, very consistent. I really look forward to seeing how he develops further. Then my last centre will be Damien Delendi, 31 years of age by the time of the next World Cup. He's blown hot and cold over the years, but, under the mentorship of Rassie, I think he's become a prime centre, absolutely amazing centre. And I think, he'll be one of those guys that will, give a lot of experience in the next World Cup. And if he continues like he is, he's just going to, he's going to be very, very important to the core, so to speak. Look, there's a lot of centres missing here, guys. One of the most obvious names is Jan Serfontein. But in terms of the actual experience these guys have and how they've been playing together and how Rassie will probably... I know Ninab is the coach, but I'm looking at it from a director of rugby perspective here. But I think what he'll do is try and stick to tried and tested combinations. So this is what I think the centre combination will look like. I'd like to see Jan Serfontein. Maybe you take one of the back three out or something like that and maybe chuck him in. Because Creel can probably cover fullback. I don't know. But yeah, the exciting thing is that there's a lot of talent coming out, guys. So, we've got options, which is something that it wasn't the same case just a couple of years ago when we were looking at the doldrums. Then move on to Fly-halves. First Fly-half has to be Andre Pollard, 29 years of age. Hard to believe that he'll be 29 years of age by the time the next World Cup comes around. And I think he'll just completely be dominant as a Fly-half in World Rugby. I don't think there'll be many people close to his level. And he'll be at the peak of his powers, which means that I definitely think that we have a very good chance of winning the next World Cup if Pollard's over there, because obviously every World Cup winning team, has had a class Fly-half. Every single one, without fail. The pivot is a very important decision, and I think Pollard is just going to grow as a player, and he will become a South African legend as a Fly-half, no doubt about that. But who will be supporting him? I'm thinking Kerwin Bosch. He'll be 26 years of age by the time the next World Cup comes around. He's starting at Fly-half now for the Sharks. When Rob Dupree was coach over there, he wasn't getting much of a look in, but I think if you take a look at Everett, I think he's really given him an extended run at Fly-half. And Bosch is a very talented player. We've known that since he's 15 years old, what a talented player he is. But the thing is that I think most of us can agree the only issue is maybe the defense. That's the only thing that he maybe needs to work on. But otherwise, he's a very, very fantastic player and will add a lot of depth from the bench for Andre Pollard. Then scrummies, we're looking first at Herschel Jantjies. He'll be 27 years of age by the time of the next World Cup. I do believe he'll be a starter. Now, the thing is, we've seen a lot of guys have an explosive debut, have a good couple of matches. We think they're the next big thing, and then they sort of fade away. I don't think it with him. I think he'll stay consistent and he'll stay brilliant. And I would probably have him as... I would probably, if I was a betting man, I'd probably say he would probably be the starting scrummy. But he would have very big competition from one player, and that would be Jaden Hendrickse. He'll be 24 years of age by the time the 2023 World Cup comes around. I've got no doubt Hendrickse is going to be in the squad. If Hendrickse is not in the squad, I just don't know anything about rugby. I've got to relook at even doing this channel. because I've got that much faith in him. I've got no doubt that he's going to be a Springbok. It's just when, not if. And I think there's a possibility that he could even be a starter, guys. I think there's even a possibility of that. We'll see. And then the final scrummy, I think Faf will be there. He'll be 31 years of age at that time. But I definitely don't think he'll be a starter. I think what will happen with Faf is that, if we were playing tests this year, I definitely think that he would have been a starter, and I think Janchis would have been given more game time, with a view to be the starter for the next World Cup. But I still think Hendrickse could become a starter. I'm not too sure, but these would be about 3 scrummies. You've got a guy that'll be at his peak at 27 years of age. You've got a young gun that will be available for the next World Cup after that. Then you've got the level-headed, veteran that can basically offer support and experience. They can come off the bench and close off a game. And I think these three would be a very exciting combination for the next World Cup. Absolutely. Then loose forwards. So first, Kolisi. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep Sia there, 32 years of age. Not impossible, but maybe unlikely. But I think they'll do everything they can to keep him there. I mean, his leadership is something special. He united the country last year, guys. There's no doubt about that. I mean, if you didn't have a little tear, when he lifted that trophy, just, even a little tear, then, you're a psychopath. You belong in a nut house or something like that. I mean, that was one of the most beautiful moments in South African sporting history, or even just South African history. How a young guy comes from the township, comes from nothing, goes through the system and lifts the Rugby World Cup. There's going to be a movie one day about that, no doubt. I think we'll try and definitely keep him there. Now, will he 100% be a starter? I don't know. Will he 100% be a captain? I'm pretty sure he will be. Now, that might seem contradictory, but, the game's changing, so maybe you'd have co-captains or something like that. But I definitely think it would be warranted to have him at the next World Cup. And I think they'll do everything they can to keep him. Next, loose forward, we have Pieter-Steph du Toit. He'll be 31 years of age. And, he's just going to keep on keeping on, guys. This guy's an absolute machine. I don't know how he does it, but... I don't see burnout. I don't see anything like that happening. There was a stage. Is he a lock? Is he an open side? What's his position? We now know he's one of the best flanks. Actually, he's the best flank in the world. I won't even say one of the best. I expect him to maintain that level of form. Absolutely unreal player. What a talent. And definitely someone that will be there for the next World Cup. 100%. Next player, I have Evan Ruiz. So... another youngster that I believe was going to go all the way. So he'll be 23 years of age by the time of the next World Cup. And I think he'll be the heir apparent to Pieter-Steph du Toit on the flank. Powerful guy, can cover the number 8 position as well. And a very, very unique talent, guys. I mean, you guys know, you voted him as the all-time open side flanker. In our all-time school rugby list. So you guys know what a talent he is. And I just think he'll definitely be in the squad or in the reckoning. To me, there's no doubt. Then we have Noche, and I think he'll definitely be there. Look, on current form, he's just playing unreal rugby. And Duan Vermeulen, I don't think he will be there for the next World Cup. I mean, he'll just be a bit too old, I think. And Noche's looking fantastic in the eighth man position, guys. He's looking really, really good. What a move it was to move from the Stormers to the Sharks. It just, rejuvenated his whole rugby career. And I think he would have been in the reckoning this year. And I think no doubt he'll probably be a starter in the 8th man berth by the time of the next World Cup. Then finally, we have James Venter, 27 years of age, and he just came out of nowhere. I hadn't heard much about him before the start of this season, and then when I took a look at him, I'm just like, bruh, that guy's a Springbok. Sometimes it only takes 2 or 3 games, and then you can look at a guy and go, like, right, he's a Springbok. That's done. So when's it happening? And he's one of those players, in my opinion, and I definitely think he'll be in the reckoning for the next World Cup. Then we move on to locks. First one obviously has to be Eben Etzebeth, 31 years of age by the time of the next World Cup. I mean, it's scary to think this guy's got like 80 odd tests to his name, and he's like 27. So by the time of the next World Cup, I mean, He'll have a cup, he'll probably be 120, 130 test caps, so very experienced, and he'll be one of the key players in the team at this stage. And then next, Snyman, 28 years old. I mean, scary to think. I mean, this guy's 28 years old. I mean, he could even be at the World Cup after this, logically, because, I mean, Locke can go to 32, 33, 34 even. And by this stage, I expect him to be one of the best, if not the best, locks in the world. No doubt about that. Next lock, I think, would be Louis de Joche. Very experienced player as well. He'd only be 30 years of age. It's scary to think that, him and Etzebeth, for example, have been part of the box setup for that long. So he'll only be 30 years of age by the time of the next World Cup. I mean, that's scary to think. The last one, I've got JJ van der Mesh. He'll be 24 years of age by the time of the next World Cup. And this is another guy I just think to myself, like, 100% he's going to become a Springbok. Now with the locks, you sort of want an enforcer, then you want someone a little bit more nimble, and a bit more athletic, so to speak. And I don't know, I think after this World Cup, you could see Van der Mesh and Snyman play together for a good couple of years. Maybe Emil van Heerden comes in, and then forms a combination with JJ after that. But I'm very excited about our lock stocks in terms of the future. I mean, there's some great locks coming through. And, we've always been a nation pretty much blessed with loose forwards, but we're definitely becoming a nation very, very blessed with locks. Then we got the hookers. So first up, Malcolm Marx has to be in there, 29 years of age. The other player that will be at the peak of his powers. He's an interesting player because there's no doubt he is the best in the world in his position on his day. You never thought this would be a guy that would ever lose form, though. And, I don't know if it was him losing form or Bongi sort of gaining form. But yeah, he's a great player, and that sort of level, that class can't be lost, guys. It just can't be lost. It's in there somewhere. And I've got no doubt, sometimes great rugby players need to go through their ebbs and flows. And I think Malcolm Marx has learned lessons and matured as a player, and I got no doubt he's got everything to become a Springbok legend. Next up has to be Joseph Dweber. Has to be. Anyone that's watched this guy play knows what he's about. Has to be. I mean, I would have him part of the Springbok squad already. Honestly, if I was a selector, you'd be part of my squad this year. I mean, he's an absolutely awesome player. Absolute beast. Got a lot of power. And between him and Marx, I don't care who's starting. All I know is that these guys are going to do some real damage to their opposition. I'm a massive fan of Dweber, and I definitely think 100%. If he's not in the Springbok squad, let's say latest by next year, the selectors are drunk. I mean, that's just what it's about. And then my final hooker would have to be Bongi. Now, he'll be 32 years of age at this time. Bongi's really come around as a player, guys. What a player he was. Very important in our World Cup cause. Really rate this guy. I'm very happy to see him reach his potential, because at one stage it didn't really look like that. I mean, he was even struggling to get a starting place at the Stormers, and now you take a look at him. A definite. I mean, no one can argue that he deserves to be in the box squad. No one can argue about that. Then we finally go to the props. So first prop, Kitsov has to be there, 31 years of age. I mean, what else do I need to say about Steven Kitsov? You guys know about him, one of the best, if not the best in the world. Then Frans Malherbe, he'll be 32 years of age by the time of the next World Cup. Definitely has to be there. Thomas du Toit will be 28. Scary to think Thomas the Tank will only be 28 years old by the time of the next World Cup. And I sort of expect he would have to be a starter by then. This guy's like the Incredible Hulk. I mean, how many players have you seen with this size and this strength and that mobility? He's the real deal, guys. Absolutely is a real deal. Next up, I would have Trevor Nyankane. Now, before you guys criticize me about the age, remember that Beast was 34 years of age at this last World Cup. Don't forget that. And I thought it was very, very unfortunate that Nyankane got injured during this World Cup. To me, he's got all the tools to be the best prop on the planet. I mean, this guy just does damage to his opposition in the scrum. I mean, we are so blessed with props as well, guys. I'll tell you what, this is exciting times ahead for South African rugby. Very exciting times ahead because we just got so much depth in so many positions. That's a beautiful thing. Then next up, I definitely think Ox has to be there, Ox and Chair. He'll be 28 years of age. Hopefully Tom DeToy doesn't leave for England, and these two can be playing at the Sharks together for a good couple of years because I like them as a combination. Thomas has got that raw power. Ox has got some power, but also a lot of athleticism. I think this guy could be an absolutely fantastic impact player, guys. Coming off the bench, offering that added athleticism to the role. Very excited to see how he develops in the future, but I got no doubt he will definitely be part of the Springbok reckoning. And then my final prop, another young gun, has to be Henry Jacobs, guys. 23 years of age by the time the next World Cup comes along. Now he's at the Sharks right now, and I think he would have made a statement this year if the the under 20 World Cup was allowed to take place. I think he would have made a massive statement this year. He would have showed how far he is ahead in terms of his age group. This guy's an absolute ox. I mean, just go back and look at his videos as a school rugby player. Okay, scrumming against some of the top schools and some of the top school rugby players on the planet, and he made them look like children. It was childish. It was absolutely childish to see him scrum. And don't ever forget, I've talked about it a lot, the Georgians came here to South Africa and they absolutely dominated our scrums. And then what the coach did was brought Henry Jacobs on, and immediately, from the first scrum, that dominance ended. Just completely ended, and it shifted gears. So I think that it will be a view to the future, because Henry Jacobs will be a Springbok prop. He will 120% be a Springbok prop. So I think the whole thing would be is that they blood him in slowly because obviously they need to think about the future. So if you take a look at the prop combinations here, I mean, you got three of these guys that will probably retire after this World Cup. They'll be at the right age. I'm talking about Nyankane, Malherbe, and Kitshoff. And then you're left with two guys that'll be in their early 30s by the time of the World Cup after. So they'll all need to bring in some young blood, and I think Henry Jacobs will be almost at the top of that list of the young blood that they bring in with a view to the 2027 World Cup. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts? I know there's probably hundreds of players I've forgotten about. You think that I've forgotten about. And obviously everyone has their opinion. I always like to hear your guys' opinions. So leave a comment down below. Who would you have in certain key positions? I'm not including anyone that's in school now. Okay. So in the next video, I'm going to do the Springboks 2027 because you guys have asked me multiple times for that. Some of you guys have asked me 2031, 2035. That's just ridiculous. We're not doing that. I'll go up to 2027 and that's it. I can't predict further than that, guys. I mean, once we start to get into 2031 and 2035, you ask me to look at 12 and 13-year-olds. Let's just be realistic over here. But what are your thoughts? And also drop in the comments below what you sort of think the mix would look like for the 2027 World Cup. What players would you have in over there? And the only rule is nobody in school right now because they have to concentrate on school. They can't be concentrating on being mentioned in videos for future Springbok squads. I mean, it's a bit early. They've still got to figure out who they're going to sign with. There's a long way to go for a lot of these youngsters. So we're only focusing on guys that have left school. I have to reiterate that. Okay, so we'll catch up on the next video and have a great week further. Cheers, bye.